I grew up, my family grew up. Put the camera on. This is not even the type of neighborhood where a lot of things happen as far as tragic is concerned. I mean, you have things that happen every now and then, but pretty much not like what's been going on as of late. This spot where I'm standing is where I saw my daughter land. September 29th, I got a call at 1 o'clock in the morning telling me that my daughter had been shot. When I got that call, I was devastated, but at the same time, I was hoping that she would be okay. But when I got to the actual scene, which is right where I'm standing, she was laying right here in the dirt. My thing is this. Everything is just moving along like nothing happened. When at the same time that I'm grieving, there's a thousand more things going on in Chicago. We got the 9-year-old that got killed. We got the 20-year-old that got killed. We got the 14-year-old that got killed. When does it stop? My problem is I saw it every day on the news, but yet and still I really didn't reach out to do anything. I felt like it was tragic, but I proceeded to live my life and go back and forth to work like I normally did. But how can you function and continue to go to work when this type of nonsense is happening on the streets of Chicago? My daughter was 22 years old. She left behind a 4-year-old that's not even aware of the fact that she's never going to see her mother again. And then I haven't really had a chance to get a hold of my grieving or my hurt because it's just been so many other things going on around me. I'm the type of person that when I go on Facebook, I try to post something positive. You know, something that you can bite, something that you can feed off of. I believe in having hope when you don't see that much hope. Yeah, people might look at me and they may say, this is just another situation with a thug or a black guy that's out there on the street. Yeah, I was on the street. I had my moments, but I've never been in a gang. And I've had the same job for 22 years. So it's not one of those situations where you look at me and you say, okay, this is somebody that gang related, because that's what the police will do. They'll say, okay, it's gang related. No, it's not gang related. Everything that happens in a black neighborhood is not gang related. What we got is a bunch of teens that's out of control. And if we don't do something as a whole, it's going to continue to happen. So what I decided, rather than retaliate for what was done to my daughter and do the same thing that they did to me, I'm throwing my hands up. I surrender. Because, believe you me, when a situation like this happens, all you see is red. And I'm the type of person, I'm what you call a negotiator. When something happens, I'm Johnny on the spot. When something go down with my family, I'm Johnny on the spot, trying to get it resolved, get it squashed. But what do you do in a situation like this? When somebody done killed your loved one, somebody done murdered your seed, you stuck. So unless you gonna come in here and be gun-ho the same way they was and make somebody feel the same way that you felt, you can't do nothing but throw your hands up and say, okay, there has to be a better way. Because it's not like I didn't have the tool to make certain things happen. Because believe you me, I could have had this block filled up. I could have had way more people grieving just like me. But what was it going to resolve? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. And then that feeling that came over me when my daughter got killed, The only way I can describe that feeling is if you take your hand, put it in the toilet, pull out some feces, put it from the top of your head to the sole of your feet. That's the feeling that I had about my daughter being down here on this ground. And that's what torments me every day and night, because when I got here on the scene, she was still here on this ground. And then it's like I said, if I had to did what was actually in my heart, what was it going to resolve? The only thing that it would have done is had other family members feeling just like me. It wasn't going to make my kid's mother feel better. It wasn't going to make my kids feel better. And it definitely wasn't going to make her daughter feel better. She's 4 years old. She hasn't even grasped the fact that mom's never coming home. Every now and then she says, when is my mama going to come home? And what's so crazy is that society is moving on so fast. Like, this is not even happening. You got people fighting for benefits and all this other madness, like what people doing with their money and this and that. That don't matter. Let me tell you something. You sitting up here talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage ain't gonna matter if you dead. So if we don't get together as a whole, as a unit, this is gonna continue to happen. It's already in process. I haven't even had the time to grieve because so many other people are grieving because they done lost their loved ones, and so on and so forth. So what do you do in a situation like this? It's not the fact that I'm strong. It's just that when a situation like this happens, your hands are tied. You have no choice but to move on. You have no choice but to step forward and try to do what's right. But in order for me to fight for my daughter, this is the way I'm going to choose to do it. Since the youth are out of control and you acting like the only thing we have sayings that we say in Chicago, and one of the sayings is turn up. Well, we done turned up so much to the point where we done led to self-destruction. See, the youth think that it's cool to get a gun, point it at a crowd, and just pull the trigger with no remorse. And whoever they hit, they hit. No, that ain't cool. You don't get no brownie points like that. You don't get no brownie points from me. And you don't get no brownie points for nobody else. That ain't cool, and it ain't never been cool. I don't know what type of person or what type of mindset you have to think that it's okay to get in front of a gun and pull the trigger into a crowd and not care who you hit. And then the intended goal is not even reached because you didn't hit everybody but that person. That makes absolutely no sense. So I tell you what, this is how we gonna play this. Since you act like you don't have any guidance, I'm gonna be that guidance. How I'm gonna fight my fight for my daughter, I'm coming out there and I'm gonna get all up in your ear. I'm gonna holler at everybody that needs to be hollered at as far as the youth is concerned until we get it right. Because I refuse to watch this anymore. I refuse to watch the deaths and the lives that's going on in Chicago and on this news, and nobody wants to do anything about it. So I'm left with the bitter taste of my daughter being shot dead in a neighborhood that's supposed to love and care about who she is. Not that it would make it any better that if she got killed anyplace else, but this is her neighborhood. This is where she grew up at. This is where I grew up at. This is where her mom grew up at. This is supposed to be your safe haven. But she done got shot and killed in her own neighborhood? That's absurd. That's absurd. And the police keep hollering, gang, 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 gang. It's not gangs, it's cliques. It's cliques. If you GD, but you don't honor the GDs on the next block, you a clique. If you a vice lord and you don't honor the vice lords on the next block, you a clique. You're not a gang. Gangs is an organization. Organizations honor one another. So if you're not honoring the guys on this block and that block and that block, and y'all the same gang, you're a clique. All that's eliminated. But that's not neither here or now. If we don't come together to do something about this nonsense, there's going to be far more people grieving just like me. And it's a never-ending process until we come together as a whole and try to stop it and do something about it. There's no way that somebody should be suffering from the death of a loved one that was caused in her own neighborhood. So this is my journey. This is my fight. Whatever it takes to get this situation resolved, to stop this madness, that's what I'm going to do. If you want to reach out to me, hit me on Facebook. My name is Robert Northern. Or you can hit my email, northern.robert@yahoo.com. Nothing is never that bad. Nothing is never so bad to the point where you just don't care about anybody and nobody around you. You killing off your own kind. You killing off your own people. They're saying Black lives matter. But every life matters, not just blacks. Chicago been segregated for far too long. That slavery didn't bypass. All that past and gone. That's never going to happen again. So the only thing I have to say to you is there's always a better way. There's always a solution. But this right here is not it. Let's stop this nonsense.